Okay, today we got this beautiful 2013 Mustang with the 5.0. We're gonna be doing a clutch replacement on it. I'm gonna get right into it. I'm putting this back on the script for now. Okay, I'm taking a crossbar off at the bottom down here. Put the 15 mil in this. Right off. Sit it out the way. Put the nuts back on. Keep up with them. Okay. And with this one, I'm going to try to pull the trans without touching the exhaust. The cat pretty close to the bell housing. Let me see if I get the light in. The bell housing pretty close to the cat. But depending on how long that input shaft is, I should be able to get it. Just pull it out a little and drop it right down. The starter part of the bell housing on this side look pretty close. I might have to pull that sensor, but I did it on the S197 without pulling the exhaust. So I'm gonna try it again on this one. So I guess this I'm gonna pull the drive shaft, I'm gonna mark it so I know what position to go back in. And I'm gonna get you joints. I'm gonna pull the drive shaft and then I'm gonna take apart the shifter. Then I'm gonna start disconnecting them. Disconnecting everything. Yeah, the O2 sensor look pretty close over there. I'm gonna try to get it without pulling the cats. I tried on the outside boat and it was like frozen. So I tried it with my impact, it was frozen. I even tried it with a breaker bar. I don't want to break in the nuts or anything already. So I'm gonna leave that as a lab resort, see if I can pull it without it first. Okay, I'm now working on the starter. I can get both out with it. Let me see, I can get it off. I got the top bolt out already, the hardest one. Here. And I'm using this setup It's a universal with a spring in it, made by Titan tools. Pretty nice. Make it easy to get in there and get on the boat. Right on. So yeah, I just crank them out now and get this started out the way. I don't have to take the wires off. I'm just gonna move it back out the way. Okay, funny thing I'm saying, it's a bunch of clumps of mud falling from under the car. And like places like here, like someone try to go off-road, try to let the Mustang run wild. But I got to start out the top bolt. You have to use the swivel universal joint thing, and the bottom two you can just use a 10mm wrench, and all three came right out. So I started moving my wires disconnected. I know I'm jumping ahead because I still gotta remove the drive shaft, the transmission mount, cross member, and things like that also. But while I'm up here, I'm just gonna soak down the bolts just in case there's no other option but to take the exhaust out. I want to have them already soaked, so it's just gonna be a lot of smoke when on startup. Okay, so I came back to the inside of the car. I pulled this panel up, I opened the armrest, and just pulling up the back. Got clips on the back, and I removed this shift knob. He have a custom shift knob, so if yours would be different. I've removed the rubber boot out the way now so I can get to the shifter. You can disassemble it from on top of the transmission, but the top bolt is hard to get to, and so I guess I'm gonna do it like this time. Let me see, should be able to get that rubber boot. Get the phone back. There we go. You got an arrow pointing toward the front and the back, so you know which way to align. Okay, got that out. Now I'm gonna go back under, and well, I might can get to all 4 bolts here. I think it'd be better to drop it down a little bit before they get to that bolt. Here you would have to take all 4 bolts out for to pull the shifter out. You could drop it with this in, but it would make it a lot harder because you would have to maneuver the shifter itself around. I guess I'm gonna go back on it, and it should be 2 bolts holding the shifter up, and I'm gonna take them off. Then I'm gonna come back to the inside and take these 4 bolts out. I'm gonna remove the drive shaft, but it's easier to lift the rear wheels off the ground so you can rotate the drive shaft to keep from having to reach at awkward angles to get to the bolts. But I said I'm gonna wanted to do everything in the inside of the car first. I don't want to have to get inside the car when I got all 4 wheels off the ground. So I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna call it a day, and when I start back on, I'm gonna finish with the shifter, then I'm gonna pull the drive shaft. Okay, I'm back under the car. I'm gonna remove the drive shaft. I lifted the car up just enough to get the rear tires off the ground so I can spin the drive shaft. It's hard to get to the bolt in them awkward angles, and make it a lot easier if you can rotate the drive shaft. But I didn't want to lift the car up too high off the ground, especially being on 4 jack stands. So I just lifted the back enough for to get the back tires off the ground, and I still got the jack on the front for support. So I'm gonna get them rest of them TMLs out. I think I have 2 left. And then I have to move to the front, and the front one is a 12mm socket. So I'm gonna get them out. I can rotate. Then I'm gonna come back for the shifter, and also got a carrier bearing here also I got to take out. So this bolt, one on this side and one on that side. I'm gonna get them out and try to get the drive shaft out of here. Then I'm gonna start back working on the shifter. Okay, for these 12mm bolt, they were a little too tight for my impact. Two ways you can go about it. You can go put it in gear and turn it, but there's still the possibility it might turn. What I did was I got my 3/8 drive extension, which in between the bolt and the yoke, and then allow me to slip my ratchet in. Let me see, I can put that real quick. Let me slip my ratchet in, and wait a minute, and breaks the loop. So that's one way it did. And I did also for the hold while I take 10mm bolts out also. I think they have Loctite on, so you would need something to hold it. Like I said, my impact wasn't enough to get it off. Okay, got the drive shaft out of here. I just slid it back a little. Here it is, there, the front yoke. And I just got it hanging out back there. You want to move the carrying bearer and everything through there. I just need to get it back far enough so I can pull the transmission. Okay, next I'm gonna work on the shifter. Got them two 10mm bolts all the way up there. I don't know if you can see. You can, like I was saying, you can disassemble it from there, but you got to take that bolt out the side and drop the end of the transmission out, and there's another bolt at the top. It's a lot to do it anyway, so I'm just gonna take it apart and remove the transmission with the shifter also. So I'm gonna get them two bolts out, then I'm gonna go on the inside and work from the inside. Okay, it's a spring clip on the bottom with one of the 10mm bolts. You have to like hold it with your finger as you pull the shifter down. But as we got it down, got these 4 bolts. We gotta take them out and pull the shifter out. Hard to do with one hand. See, I can get that one. Come back to the other one. And I'm gonna get my small 10mm socket on it. Okay, we got 4 of the bolts out. We're gonna make sure it's in neutral, and we're gonna pull the shifter up out the way and set it to the side. Be mindful of the lithium grease on the bottom, whatever kind of grease it is. Make sure it don't get contaminated with a lot of dirt or anything. So now we got that part disassembled. Now we on to the transmission mount. Let me get back on in there. Okay, came back to the top back there. See, I get a light on. Got my top 2 bell housing bolt out through the top and loosen the other one on this side. I haven't lowered the engine yet. But when you do lower the engine, be mindful of the heater hoses in the back, and the intake can't heat it and damage those also. So I got the top 2 bolts out, the third one loose. On this side, I went on, took the transmission mount out at 4 15mm bolt. I mean 3 15mm here and 4 18mm on the side. I disconnected more connector. Got my jacket here in position. Got the legs to the transmission so it won't rotate or move or anything. So now I just got to get them 2 bell housing bolts on this side, and I got 3 more on this side, and the transmission will be ready to come out. I don't think I'm gonna disconnect the shifter, cause hopefully I'm not taking the transmission from under here. I'm just gonna like slide the whole jump back, just to get enough room for it to get in to replace the clutch. So I'm gonna get them bell housing bolts out, and I'll get you back on when I get ready to separate the transmissions, so we can see if they're gonna past the catalytic converter. That's the concern there. But depending on how much engagement on the input shaft of the transmission, I might can lower it back enough, pull it back enough and lower it right past the cats. Or at the very least, tilt it down at this end and pull it out in an angle. As long as it's not damaging the input shaft or anything. So I got the O2 sensor connectors disconnected. I'm gonna tuck them out the way so they won't be hanging, get caught on anything. I'm gonna just pull the rest of the connectors off, lower it down, and see what we can do. Okay, so we hit a roadblock, a snag, whatever you want to call it. I know at the beginning of the video I said I was gonna try to pull it without removing the exhaust, but it just wasn't possible with this model Mustang. With this one, the starter is on the passenger side, and I had to remove the cat, but in the process of trying to remove the cat, the bolts was stripped and rested on. So to bypass it, I didn't want to work on it too long, so I just lifted the engine a little bit with my jack, pulled the engine mount and pulled the bolts off for the exhaust manifold. It moved just enough so the transmission can come down. Now I just need to slide it back a little bit. I still have the shifter on. I just need to move the transmission back a little bit. I already have access to my clutch, so we're gonna move that back and get the clutch off and see where I'm gonna go from there. Okay people, the clutch is out. The way I did it, it's just I don't want to move the transmission off the jack, so I have to wrestle it. So in that case I would have to wrestle it to put it back on the jack to get it back in position. So I'm gonna leave it on the jack for now. I pushed it backwards out of the way, and I'm about to remove my throwout bearing. The way I did the clutch is I took the 3 bolts off that I could access, then I used my pry bar to turn the flywheel, and I kept getting the bolts like that. And when I got all the bolts out, I used my pry bar to like pry it off just the dial pins here. But yeah, I can access my throwout bearing now. 2 8mm bolts. I'm gonna pull them and they clip on that side where it entered the transmission at, and changed it, and I'll be ready to clean the flywheel. He didn't want to change the flywheel. He actually using aftermarket clutch. You have an aftermarket clutch here for new dial pins. This type of clutch it is. 5.0. So got my throwout bearing here. I already pre-bladed. You see the brake fluid coming out. For some reason they don't take fluid in. But yeah, I got my clutch alignment tool here. I'm about to the clutch up there, the clutch disc first. I'm gonna clean the flywheel with some brake cleaner. It's some shop rags I have laying here. And I'm gonna clean the flywheel, make sure there's no hot spots on it or anything like that. So if it is, he would have to change the whole flywheel, but the clutch was still good. He just wanted to upgrade to aftermarket one. That's the reasoning behind the whole job. He didn't like the feel of the stock clutch. So yeah, got my brake cleaner and my shop rags, and I don't have a light, so that's why I'm not recording while I'm doing the job. I don't have a light out with me right now, and it's pretty horrible. Got my trans back up. Got the harness just still hanging down for now. I'm gonna tighten it up a bit. Got my starter hanging here. I already pushed the exhaust manifold back up and started the bolts on that. I got my bell housing bolts in, except the 2 for the inspection cover at the bottom. I'm gonna get the manifold put back up first. Then I'm gonna put the engine mount back on there, and I'm gonna lower the engine so I can get this jack out of here, so I can finish tightening the bell housing bolts, torquing them down, and finish with my transmission mount and finish everything else up. I'll get you back on when I make some progress. Okay, Got my exhaust manifold, fold it back up. Got my engine mount back on. Don't forget the ground wire on the stud at the back. Make sure you put the nut on that ground wire. I got my starter in place. I just need to run the bolts in on that one. Started taking my harness up. And I think I'm about ready to put my trans mount back on. And after that, just reconnect the drive shaft and do the little finishing touches like the shifter. And I got to put the nut back on this engine mount over here also. So let me get started on it. And I'm almost at the finish line. Okay, got the last air housing bolt in. Reconnected the the clutch line. It just push it back on and slide that clip in through the side. The easier way I found to do it in a tight area is to grab the clip with a needle nose and hold it up there and just slide it right in, and you can get it in like that without having to jam your hand in that tight area. Yeah, got the last bell housing bolt in, got the last starter bolt in. Got my connectors back on this side of the transmission, got them reconnected, the O2 sensor and everything. So now I can put the shifter back up and reassemble that one. And as I do that, I'm gonna put my trans mount cross member back up also, and I can be able to lift the trans. I'm gonna lower the engine here, or I just might bring out my other jack, my transmission jack, and put it on the trans and lift it up. So yeah, the shifter back up right now, but I'm gonna leave it there as I reattach the trans cross member. So let me get that out and get that started. Okay, so I brought my transmission jack back in. Supporting this transmission on it. Lifted it up a little bit so I can get my bolt started. One thing to look out for is mark your cross member, because when I put it back up, it was out of alignment with the marks that were there. So I don't know if there would be enough to throw off your drive shaft angle or anything like that, called vibration. But it's always best to put it back in the same place. So I got that one back up. I'm gonna raise my shifter back up. I'll put my plate back on and tighten down the 4 bolts on before I raise it all the way up. But I can move my jack out of the way now. I can lower that one under the engine now and move that one out the way. So only thing I have left on the car after the shifter, it would be the drive shaft, and it would be all buttoned up. So when I get it back together, I would just get a video of it running and everything to see everything clear. Okay, got everything reassembled. I'm about to bleed the clutch now. I filled my reservoir, my brake fluid reservoir with brake fluid. And when you first start, the pedal would just drop down to the floor a few times. You had to keep bumping it back and forth. And keep checking your reservoir. Make sure you go all the way down to the floor with the pedal also. Now pump this up till I get some pressure, and then I get you back on. Okay, we made it to the point where the pedal returns on its own now. So we're building up pressure. I can just push it out, it returns on its own. So now I can pump it with my foot, and I'm gonna do that like several more times until I get a good firm pedal, and we'll be done with that one. Okay, we got the Mustang back together.